warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Introduce us from a group of 5, which is consists myself, Anjelita, and 2 partners, Hestiani and Nadia Saputri. So, we made this video to complete the semantics and discourse analysis assignment. In this video, we will explain material about deixis and anaphora. Deixis, the most primitive way of referring to something is to point to it. Of course, this kind of reference can only be accomplished with people and concrete this thing in one's immediate environment. On a less primitive level, every language has deictic words, which point to things in the physical social context of the speakers and address, and whose reference can only be determined by knowing the context in which they are used. For example, if we should encounter a message like the following on paper or an electronic recording: I was disappointed that you didn't come this afternoon. I hope you will join us tomorrow. We would not be able to identify the reference of I, you, us, this afternoon, or tomorrow, though we understand how the first 3 and the last 2 are related to one another, because we know English. For example, the referent of I is part of the referent of us, and we know the time sequences of this afternoon and tomorrow. The meaning of any lexeme depends to some extent on the context in which it occurs, but deictic elements can only be interpreted through their context. English example of deictic words include 1. Pronouns I, you, and me, which point to the participant in any speech. He, she, it, and they, when they are used to refer to others in the environment. 2. Locative expression here and there, which designate space close to the speakers or farther away. This or this, and that or those, which respectively indicate entities close to or removed from the speakers. And 3. Temporal expression now, then, yesterday, today, tomorrow, last week, next month, and so on. These last are all relative to the time when they are used. The types of deixis. In pragmatic studies, deixis can be divided into types as described below. 1. Person deixis or personal deixis. Personal deixis is a deixis that shows the speaker's self. Examples of the use of person deixis can be seen in the following sentences. Why am I the only one given the kinds of heavy duty? I showed them in the market yesterday. 2. Place deixis. Place deixis is giving shape to the location of space or place seen from the location of the actors participating in the location event. Examples of the use of place deixis can be seen in the following sentences. It's too far away from him. Talk, it's not for you. Sit with me here. It's too far away from him. Talk, it's not for you. Sit with me here. Italicized words are categorized as deixis. 3. Time deixis. Time deixis is disclosure or giving from a point or time distance that is seen from the time an expression is made. Examples of the time deixis are yesterday, the day after tomorrow, this month, this week, or one day. The following sentences are examples of the use of the time deixis. This month's salary is not much. I can help you right now.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, I'm Nadia Saputri. I want to explain about anaphora. Anaphora is a kind of secondary reference in which a previous reference is recalled by use of special function, words of or equivalent lexemes. Anaphora repetition of the same words at the beginning of successive phrases. Function. It creates rhythmic effect in literature and literature. Effect. First, connect idea. Second, reinforce idea. Third, fix the point in the reader's mind. Purpose of anaphora. First, apart from the function of giving prominence to certain ideas, the use of anaphora in literature and adds rhythmic, thus making it more preferable to read and easier to remember. As a literary device, anaphora serves the purpose of giving artistic effect to passages of prose and poetry. Secondly, a rhetorical device. Anaphora is used to appeal to the emotion of the audience in order to persuade, inspire, motivate, and encourage them. Third, helps make the writer's point more coherent, highlight the argument by drawing attention. For example, Jack and Jill tried to lift the boat and push it onto the top shelf. The choice of he, she, it, or they serves as a link to some referring expression that has occurred recently in the discourse. In this illustration, to a referring expression in the previous sentence. Every language has special function words which repeat a reference without actually repeating the referring expression or any part of it. Each of the four pronouns illustrated here as a particular scope of reference. This tied to the last plural referring expression, it to the last singular non-personal expression, she to the last singular feminine expression, and he to the last singular masculine expression. Most speakers of English would assume in this example that he refers to the same person as Jack, that he has the same reference as Jack, or is georeferential with Jack, and that she is georeferential with Jill, and its georeferential with the book. Linguistical, it might be georeferential with the top self, but in practical terms that seems unlikely. As for they, it can be georeferential with Jack and Jill, or with Jack and Jill and the book as the primary referring expression. A difference that could be clarified with the choice of they both versus they all, but it cannot be georeferential with Jack and the book alone or with Jill and the book alone. The difference between Deixis and anaphora is fairly plain, even though some function word can be used in both function. Examples: second, Slowly they advance, not knowing what lay ahead, not knowing what they would find at the top of the hill, not knowing that they were so near to Disneyland. Not knowing is anaphora. Third, in books, I find the dead as if they were alive. In books, I foresee things to come. In books, warlike affairs are set forth. Anaphora. In books is anaphora. Third, my life is my purpose. My life is my inspiration. My life is my goal. Life is anaphora. Next, the student studied really hard for her test. The student, and here is anaphora. Okay, everyone, I think it's enough. Thank you very much. Next will be explained by Hestiani.
Okay, everybody. Next, I will explain about Task 7 and Task 8. The composition above, there are Deixis is so, yesterday, and tomorrow, which are is time Deixis. And about Task 8, and you can see example of anaphora above. We conclude that the anaphora contained in the example is the word every, because anaphora is a word that is private. All from us. Thank you for your attention.